we always are like, well, we'd love to show them. We're just waiting for good ones, for more good ones. And we have had some, but never enough. So thank you for making us look better. Let's talk a little bit about the film. How'd you talk about, you have 4 protagonists, but where'd you jump into? How'd you get into the storyline of all of this?
The starting point of the film was a meeting with Blanche Lemko-Van-Ginkel. She was in Montreal. She was doing. She came. We saw when she received her honoris causa, so I've met with her, and she was all smiley and giggly as you saw. And I had done a film before on Mies van der Rohe. That was my first documentary film. I wanted to do more architecture, but I didn't know. I thought I would do it with someone alive, and I would do it differently. So I've done the Boys Club before, and then when I met with Blanche, I decided that I would explore what she's done. I didn't know that she had done all these things, not only protecting the old Montreal, but also working on Mont Royal and all kind of other things. And so I started digging, and then I thought about her friends, Cornelia and Phyllis. They're very close. So I decided to do a choir. I was not. That was a bit naive because I'm not, as you know, I didn't study architecture otherwise than for doing the film. But more I go forward, more I find all their achievements, and I decided I would do something with all of them. The common aspect of it for me was that human concern that I didn't hear often before.
Yeah, well, it was so nice how you wove all that together. I mean, you took those 4 stories, and as someone watching films, being able to, you brought them together, and you also showed how they were similar, and also their unique characters and their differences. So it was tremendous. And to talk about the whole city part of it, I mean, you start off with the people laying the lines on the road, and that whole choice. It's a really interesting choice. Talk about that part of your process.
What I find very interesting from the start that they have 4 architect people who are still working in the city. And they are still concerned about, like Liz was telling earlier, Phyllis is very concerned about, housing project and also patrimonial buildings. So I could have done 4 different films. Of course, they have enough achievement to do that. But what I wanted to do was to present 4 women and their view on the city of the last 70 years. I mean, it's pretty exceptional that you have that point of view of active architects on the last 70 years. So it was very interesting to present that, and we see it through photos. All these materials that they gave me access to was nice to expose.
And I thought how all 4 of them were so, deep thinking about the city and so considering it, so progressive in so many ways. I mean, they were talking about things a long time ago that are now such commonplace. It was great that you kind of pulled that out. And also talk about your selection. I would love, in the beginning, there's those 4 different moments where each, you have a still image and the biographical information. I love those four photos. Talk about picking those, because you had so many to pick from.
Yes, they were all of them very generous. I mean, I went to Blanche's place. She gave me access. Most of the fund of the architects that are at the CCA. So I had access to Cornelia, Phyllis, and Blanche material. But for the personal side, I had to go and dig a little bit more at their place. And I traveled with my scanner, and I was going through her albums. That photo at the beginning, I thought that I always think that, of course, people know Phyllis Lambert, of course, and everybody should know Denise Scott Brown, but it's not the case. So that photo at the beginning was after some screen tests. Okay, I said I was thinking that maybe we should I should expose them a little bit more and tell a little bit about themselves.
Yeah, but what I was really thinking is that the photos you selected, you could pick so many. They were all so powerful. I mean, they were just like each one of those 4 images was I thought, perfect choices. You got the softness and you got the strength in all 4 of those photos. They were just fantastic choices.
Yeah, but lots of archives. I was very lucky to have all these material.
Yeah, and it's fantastic that they're all still kind of pushing forward. I mean, they're not like you saw Phyllis, fierce. I love how Liz described her as fierce. She is just fierce in all the best senses of the word fierce. And Cornelia telling that the guy in the gardener, hey, what do you mean? These are like crappy plants. You're doing this wrong.
And I shot this maybe 2 years ago. I mean, Phyllis, I see her regularly, and she's still super active. It's like it didn't stop.
Force of nature. Let's open it up a little bit. We have some microphones here. Is there any questions from anyone in the audience at all about any of these foreign women, or thoughts about? I know it's been a long evening with a lot going on, but anything? Yeah.
Could you speak a little bit about your approach to filming in the cities and how what approaches you took, and did you take different approaches in each city or some kind of consistent?
To be honest, I would have liked to do a bit more of that exploration, but each of them, they offered me so much time that I was like, for example, Denise Scott Brown. She at the beginning, I speak with her. She says, "Okay, I'm going to give you 4 hours." So I arrive earlier in Philadelphia. I do my scouting and everything, and finally. I spent 4 days at her place. So my producer was not very happy with that, but I decided that it was more valuable to spend time with her. So after that, then that's when the archives with their I built the narrative with the archives. It was more a study of the different period of the cities. Like that. Things that, like the screening, things doesn't always happen as you wish.
Anything else, anyone? Talk about how, in the beginning, I love how like you have all 4 of the women filmed from outside there with the shots from the outside reflecting about in the window. Talk about those shots.
It was a way, at the beginning it was a way for me to explore the city with them. Of course we went walking a lot, but I thought that it would be, I didn't want to be too demanding, so I thought that we should do it in a car, and that shooting with the reflection in the, how do you call it?
Side view mirror.
Yes, and but finally we were always going out of the car and walking, and you saw Cornelia, she wanted to show me everywhere around. So no, that was a way of exposing their reflection on the city.
Yeah, it was a really nice choice. Nice choice. Any other questions for anyone? From anyone? Yeah, back there.
Yeah, in all of your time of talking to them, did they ever bring up who they thought might be the next generation to replace them in their interest? City planning, parks, people?
People, definitely. This is they're not talking to, like me, I'm not trying to do a film for architects, I'm trying to do a film for people to be more appreciative of their built environment, of their environment. And I think that that's what they're doing as well. They're talking to everyone and trying to increase the feeling of citizen, being more engaged.
Well, there are people who are unique in their field in that they're kind of pioneers, and we're looking at how to keep that progressing. In your conversations with them, did they ever bring up who they thought might be the new generation of women leaders?
remember. I don't remember that of course, it's a concern, but it was not. It was not part of their. It was not part of their discourse.
They were probably just moving forward with what they're doing.
Yes.
That's the way they are.
Cornelia, they're still in their environment. When I go at Cornelia's or at Denise, there's always students around. There's always they are still working with garde rapprochée. They have their court. So it's like it's part of their daily work.
So that's great. Thank you for the questions. I think we'll probably wrap it up. It's just Joseph. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful, wonderful film.
Thank you, Liz, for the introduction.